Everything we know about the new Resident Evil Requiem, RE9. Ready for a serious adrenaline rush? Today, we're tearing into one of the most hyped horror games looming on the horizon, Resident Evil Requiem, aka Resident Evil 9. Capcom has finally cracked open the vault and given us a real glimpse at the next chapter in survival horror. And trust me, there's a ton to dissect, speculate about and get hyped for. So, grab your flashlight, double-check those ammo reserves, and let's unravel every chilling detail and burning question surrounding Resident Evil Requiem. This is one breakdown you don't want to miss. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Miss Ashcroft.
Trailer reveal. First up, let's talk about that reveal. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, do yourself a favor and check it out because it's loaded with atmosphere, mystery, and just enough clues to send the Resident Evil community into a frenzy. The first thing that jumps out is the setting. We're heading back to the devastated remains of Raccoon City. That's right. After years of rumors and wishful thinking, Capcom is finally taking us back to the city that started it all. But this isn't the Raccoon City you remember. The nuclear blast that wiped it off the map has left behind a haunting, ruined landscape. Think crumbling buildings, overgrown streets, and a sense that the city's ghosts are still very much alive. For longtime fans, the idea of exploring new corners of Raccoon City in modern RE engine graphics is enough to give you chills. The trailer wastes no time establishing a somber, almost mournful tone. The camera lingers on the city's destroyed skyline, panning across the missile crater that marks the site of the government's desperate attempt to contain the outbreak. Overgrown vines creep up what's left of the Raccoon City Police Department, and the streets are littered with remnants of a life violently interrupted. The sense of loss is palpable, and the visuals alone promise a journey that's as much about confronting trauma as it is about surviving monsters. Protagonist. But it's not just about nostalgia. The story this time centers on Grace Ashcroft, an FBI technical analyst with a seriously complicated past. Grace is sent to investigate a series of bizarre deaths and illnesses linked to the Rosewood Hotel, a place that's already infamous in Resident Evil lore. Why? Because it's where her mother, Alyssa Ashcroft, died under mysterious circumstances 8 years ago. That's right, we're getting a protagonist with a direct connection to the series' history, and the theme of facing the past is front and center. The trailer hammers this home with lines like, "It's finally time for her to face the past," and you can bet that's going to be a major thread throughout the game. Grace isn't your typical Resident Evil lead. She's not a battle-hardened soldier or a grizzled cop. She's an analyst, someone who solves problems with her mind as much as with her hands. This vulnerability is a big part of what makes her compelling. According to director Koshi Nakanishi, Grace's lack of combat experience means players will watch her learn and grow as the game progresses, making every encounter feel more dangerous and personal.
The Rosewood Hotel.
Rosewood Hotel. Now, let's pause and talk about that hotel. The Rosewood Hotel is creepy as hell. Long, shadowy corridors, peeling wallpaper, and an atmosphere so thick you could cut it with a knife. Capcom knows how to make locations feel like characters, and the hotel looks set to join the ranks of the Spencer Mansion and Baker House as one of the series' most memorable settings. Eagle-eyed fans have noticed that one of the hotel rooms, room 2011, looks an awful lot like the Apple Inn from the Outbreak games. That's not just a visual callback. It could mean Capcom is stitching together pieces from across the series, tying old lore into this new story in a way that's more than just fan service. The hotel itself is a labyrinth of secrets. As Grace explores, she uncovers evidence of illegal experiments, hidden passageways, and rooms that seem to shift and change as if the building itself is alive. The design is intentionally disorienting, with flickering lights, echoing footsteps, and the constant sense that something is watching from the shadows. The Rosewood Hotel isn't just a backdrop. It's a puzzle to be solved, a threat to be survived, and a key to unlocking the game's deepest mysteries. Flashbacks. And speaking of tying things together, the trailer gives us flashes of Alyssa Ashcroft's final moments, rendered in stunning RE engine detail. There's a real possibility we'll get to play through these flashbacks, maybe even controlling Alyssa herself in segments reminiscent of Resident Evil 7's tape sequences. Imagine piecing together the mystery of her death from both the past and the present. Talk about emotional stakes. Alyssa's story, as recounted in Resident Evil Outbreak, is one of tragedy and determination. She was a journalist who risked everything to expose Umbrella's crimes, only to have her memories suppressed and her efforts buried by a massive cover-up. In Requiem, her legacy looms large over Grace's journey. The hotel is filled with echoes of Alyssa's investigation, notes, recordings, and perhaps even visions brought on by whatever experiments were conducted there. For fans of Outbreak, seeing Alyssa's fate finally addressed is a major moment, and for newcomers, it adds a layer of generational drama that raises the stakes. Experiments, but it's not all about the past. Grace's investigation quickly spirals into something far more sinister. We see her strapped to a gurney, terrified, with an IV drip and blood-soaked bandages. She's clearly been experimented on, and her eye colour even shifts in one shot, hinting at infection, hallucinations, or maybe something even worse. Is this the work of a new virus? Or is it a callback to the twisted experiments that have always been at the heart of Resident Evil? The hands-on demo reveals that the opening hours of the game are some of the most intense in the series. Grace awakens in a hospital ward, disoriented and vulnerable, forced to cut herself free using a broken bottle. The environment is oppressive, with every shadow threatening to conceal a new horror. The tension builds as she fumbles with locked doors and empty fuse boxes, all while the threat of something monstrous hangs over every moment. Chained woman. Now, let's get speculative for a second. One of the biggest talking points in the community right now is the identity of a giant chained woman crawling from the ceiling in the trailer. Some fans think this could be Lisa Trevor, somehow surviving both the Spencer Mansion and Raccoon City's destruction. The chains, the physicality, it all fits. Others think it could be a mutated Alyssa Ashcroft, transformed by years of experimentation. Imagine the horror of having to fight your own mother, twisted beyond recognition. That's the kind of emotional gut punch Resident Evil loves to deliver. What do you think? Lisa Trevor, mutated Alyssa, or something else entirely? The creature's design is pure nightmare fuel, grotesque, with protruding eyes and a height that dwarfs Grace. Encounters with this monster are tense and unpredictable, reminiscent of Mr. X and Lady Dimitrescu, but with a new level of dynamism. The AI is said to be more adaptive, capable of hunting the player across multiple rooms and reacting to their strategies. The sense of being stalked is ever present, and safe rooms are often only a temporary reprieve. Hooded figure. And then there's the hooded figure. We see him suffocating a man with a plastic bag, lurking in the shadows, and generally being menacing as hell. Some fans are convinced this could be Leon Kennedy, returning in a much darker role. Others think he's a brand new villain, orchestrating events from behind the scenes. Capcom's being very careful about what they reveal, and honestly, I love it. The less we know going in, the more terrifying the surprises will be. This mysterious antagonist is at the heart of many fan theories. Is he connected to Umbrella, or is he a rogue agent with his own agenda? The trailer drops just enough hints to fuel speculation, but for now, his true identity remains one of the game's most tantalizing secrets. Cast. Let's not forget the supporting cast. The trailer features voices that sound suspiciously like Nicole Tompkins, who voiced Jill Valentine in the RE3 remake, and Jeff Shine, the voice of Carlos and Chris Redfield in recent games. Are they reprising their old roles or playing new characters entirely? Maybe Chris or Carlos is back in some capacity, or maybe we're getting brand new allies and antagonists. Either way, the talent on display is top-notch, and I can't wait to see how these relationships play out. There's also speculation that other Outbreak characters could make appearances, either in flashbacks or as survivors who have their own scores to settle. The connections to previous games are deeper than ever, and every new reveal seems to tie another thread into the franchise's sprawling tapestry. Gameplay. Gameplay-wise, Resident Evil Requiem looks like a return to the series' survival horror roots. The first-person perspective is back, and everything from the trailer screams tension, atmosphere, and vulnerability. Gone are the action-heavy vibes of Village. This is pure, unfiltered horror. Expect tight corridors, limited resources, and enemies that don't just wait for you to come to them. The RE engine is being pushed even further, with seamless transitions between locations, dynamic lighting, and environmental storytelling that rewards exploration. One of the game's most exciting features is the ability to switch between first and third-person perspectives on the fly. Unlike Resident Evil Village, which added third-person post-launch, Requiem lets you pause and change viewpoints at any time. This flexibility allows players to experience the game in the style they prefer, and the cinematic direction of cutscenes ensures that both perspectives feel equally immersive. Investigation. One thing I'm particularly excited about is the focus on investigation. Grace isn't a soldier, she's an analyst. That means puzzles, evidence gathering, and piecing together clues will be at the heart of the experience. We're talking about deeper, more complex puzzles than ever before, and a story that unfolds as you dig into the details. If you loved the investigative elements of previous games, this is going to be right up your alley. The game encourages exploration with hidden documents, environmental storytelling, and secrets that reward careful observation. Many puzzles are multi-layered, requiring players to revisit locations and connect clues from different timelines. This investigative approach not only deepens the narrative, but also makes every discovery feel earned. Enemies. But don't worry, combat is still very much a thing. The enemies we've seen so far are terrifying, and with rumours of dynamic AI, you're never going to feel safe. Some monsters might stalk you through multiple rooms, adapting to your tactics and making every encounter a potential nightmare. And with resources scarce, every bullet and healing item is going to count. Encounters are designed to be unpredictable, with enemies that can break through doors, ambush from unexpected angles, and even retreat to regroup. The game's sound design amplifies the tension, with distant footsteps, guttural growls, and the ever-present threat of something lurking just out of sight. Themes. Let's talk about themes for a second. Facing the past isn't just a tagline, it's woven into every aspect of the game. Whether it's Grace confronting her mother's fate, the return to Raccoon City, or the possibility of old enemies resurfacing, the idea that the past never really dies is front and center. Even the rumoured subtitle, Revenant Shadows, hints at this. Revenants are beings that return from the dead, and shadows are, well, the things that haunt us. It's classic Resident Evil, but with a psychological twist. The narrative explores trauma, memory, and the consequences of buried secrets. Grace's journey is as much about understanding herself as it is about surviving the horrors around her. The game doesn't shy away from difficult questions. What does it mean to inherit a legacy of violence? Can the truth ever really be brought to light, or will it always be buried by those in power? Vision. Now, a quick word about the director. Koshi Nakanishi, the creative mind behind Resident Evil 7, is back at the helm. That's huge. Nakanishi's approach to horror is all about making it personal and immersive. He wants you to feel every creak of the floorboard, every flicker of the lights, every heartbeat in your chest. If you loved the intimate terror of RE7, you're going to feel right at home here. And with the RE engine evolving even further, expect environments that feel alive, enemies that are more unpredictable, and a narrative that pulls you in and refuses to let go. Nakanishi has stated that his goal is to push realism further than ever before. The lighting, sound, and environmental details are all designed to create a sense of dread that never lets up. Whether you're creeping through a pitch-black locker room or sprinting from an unstoppable monster, every moment is crafted to keep you on edge. Release. So, when can we actually play Resident Evil Requiem? Capcom has confirmed a release date of February 27, 2026 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. That's right, next-gen only, so expect visuals and performance that really push the hardware. No word yet on a Nintendo Switch 2 version, but given Capcom's history with cloud ports, I wouldn't rule it out down the line. Speculation. Now, let's get a little speculative, because what would a Resident Evil breakdown be without some wild theories? Some fans think we might see the return of other classic characters, maybe Jill, maybe Chris, maybe even Claire. The connections to Outbreak, the callbacks to earlier games, and the focus on legacy all point to a story that's going to tie together threads from across the series. And with Capcom being so tight-lipped about certain details, you just know they're holding back some jaw-dropping surprises. There's also talk that Requiem could serve as both a conclusion to current narratives and a new entry point for the future of the franchise. The trailer's tone suggests a reckoning, a moment where the past and present collide, and the consequences ripple out into whatever comes next. Future. Before we wrap up, let's talk about what this means for the future of the franchise. Capcom is calling Resident Evil Requiem a new era of survival horror, and it's clear they're not just resting on their laurels. With technological advancements, a renewed focus on horror, and a willingness to play with the series' own history, this could be the game that sets the tone for the next decade of Resident Evil. Verdict. Resident Evil Requiem looks like the bold reinvention the series needed, melding the psychological terror of RE7 with the scale and interconnected lore of the classics. The return to Raccoon City is more than nostalgia. It's a chance to revisit the franchise's roots while pushing the boundaries of horror gaming. With a fresh protagonist, the confirmed return of Leon S. Kennedy, and a commitment to next-gen visuals and immersive storytelling, RE9 is shaping up to be a must-play for both series veterans and newcomers. If Capcom delivers on its promises, Requiem could easily become a new high-water mark for survival horror. February 2026 can't come soon enough. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe. Thanks everyone.